we have been studying the eigen properties of particularly Hermitian matrices. Recall that we say A is Hermitian if A star equal to A, that is the matrix is self conjugate. A star is called the Hermitian conjugate of A, and if A is its own conjugate, then we call it a Hermitian matrix. So, A belonging to C n cross n is an n by n complex matrix is called Hermitian if it is its own conjugate, and we were looking at some very specific eigen properties of such a matrix. We had the following important properties of such a matrix. A is Hermitian, then we have 1 all eigenvalues of A are real. This is a very important property of Hermitian matrices. All the eigenvalues of A must be real. The second important property is that the eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues are bound to be orthogonal, corresponding to distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal. So, these are two important properties. The first one says about the structure of the eigenvalues, says that they are all real, they will all be, even though the matrix may be complex, as long as the matrix is Hermitian, the eigenvalues are bound to be real. So, that is the first property, which is the structure of the eigenvalues. Secondly, the second property is about eigenvectors. The eigenvectors are always orthogonally oriented. If you take two different eigenvalues, then take the eigenvectors corresponding to each one of them, they are bound to be oriented orthogonal to each other. These are two important properties of Hermitian matrices. We also found that, without proving, we said that for every eigenvalue of A, the algebraic multiplicity is equal to the geometric multiplicity, and therefore, A is diagonalizable. Using these properties, we showed that we can construct a unitary matrix, that is, we want to eventually assert that A is not only diagonalizable, but A is unitarily diagonalizable. So, we can construct a unitary matrix U such that U star A U is a diagonal matrix. And we observed that U is constructed using orthonormal eigenvectors of A, and D is constructed using the eigenvalues of A. These were the two important constructions. The orthonormal eigenvectors give rise to the unitary matrix U, and the eigenvalues give rise to the diagonal matrix D. If we now, since U is unitary, U star is U inverse and U star inverse is U. So, this U star A equal to D gives us the decomposition. Hence, we have the decomposition of A as A equal to U D U star. into 3 simple matrices. The 2 extreme matrices are unitary and therefore easily invertible, and the middle one is diagonal and therefore easily handleable. So, into a product of 3 simple matrices. We shall now look at some simple examples of these calculations. Consider the matrix A equal to 3 minus 1 1 minus 1 5 minus 1 1 minus 1 3. Notice that this is a real symmetric matrix, and as we observed yesterday in the last lecture, the real symmetric matrix case, we get everything in place of unitary, we get orthogonal matrices, that is U star is just U is real and U star becomes U transpose. So, now let us look at this matrix. So, A is real symmetric matrix, A is a real symmetric matrix. Then let us find the characteristic polynomial of this can be shown to be lambda minus 6 into lambda minus 3 into lambda minus 2. We have to just write the determinant of lambda I minus a and expand it, then we will find it can be factored as lambda minus 6 into lambda minus 3 into lambda minus 2. Therefore, there are 3 distinct eigenvalues. They are lambda 1 equal to 6, lambda 2 equal to 3 and lambda 3 equal to 2, and obviously, their algebraic multiplicities are all 1. So, we have a real symmetric matrix now whose eigenvalues are known, we know their algebraic multiplicities. Let us find the eigenvectors. So, the first the eigenspace corresponding to lambda 1 equal to 6. For this we must look at the matrix A minus 6 I, because lambda 1 is 6, A minus 6 I is this matrix minus 3 minus 1 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 1 minus 1 minus 2 minus 3. This matrix is obtained by taking the matrix A and subtracting 6 from the diagonal. So, if you subtract 6 from the diagonal, you get this and all the other items remain unchanged. Now, to find the eigenspace W 1, we must find the null space of A minus 6 I. That is, we must find, that is to find the solutions of solution space of the system A minus 6 I into x 1, x 2, x 3 equal to 0 0 0. We have to solve this system. When we solve this system, we find we can show, we can easily see when we solve this that the set of all solutions we get is of the form alpha minus 2 alpha and alpha, where alpha is any real number. And therefore, we see that 1 minus 2 1 is a basis for W 1. Recall the way we construct the matrix U and the way we treat the eigenvectors for a Hermitian or a real symmetric matrix is always the orthonormal eigenvectors. So, this is an eigenvector, any non-zero vector in W 1 is an eigenvector, U 1 is an eigenvector, but it is not normalized to 1. So, we normalize it, that is the eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue 1, and there is only one eigenvector because algebraic multiplicity. So, we divide by its length, which is square root of 6, and we get the eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda 1 equal to 6. Similarly, we have the eigenvalue lambda 2 equal to 3. So, we look at W 2 the eigenspace, which is the null space of A minus 3 I. Now, if we write A minus 3 I, A minus 3 I is obtained from subtracting 3 along the diagonal of A. When we do that, we get this matrix, and then we have to find the solution space of A minus 3 I into x 1, x 2, x 3 equal to 0, 0, 0, and A minus 3 I matrix is given here. And so, when we solve this system, we get the solution as W 2 equal to the set of all vectors of the form beta beta beta, where beta belongs to R. So, now again we easily see that U 2 equal to 1 1 1 is a basis for W 2, and this is not orthogonal, this is not normalized. So, we construct the orthonormal vector corresponding to the eigenvector 2, and there is only one of them because the algebraic multiplicity 1. If we divide by the length, you get 1 1 1. So, that is the orthonormalized eigenvector corresponding to lambda 2. Now, observe that any vector in W 1 is of the form alpha minus 2 alpha alpha, and any vector in W 2 is of the form beta beta beta, and if you take the dot product, you find that alpha beta minus 2 alpha beta they get cancelled, and that therefore, they are orthogonal. So, note that any vector in W 1 is orthogonal to any vector in W 2. And this is what we had, that when you have a real symmetric matrix or a complex Hermitian matrix, the eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues will be ortho. Now, let us look at the corresponding eigenspace for W 3. So, we must look at null space of A minus 2 I, because lambda 3 is 2. Now, A minus 2 I is the matrix obtained by subtracting 2 from the diagonals, and we get this matrix. And therefore, to find a null space, we must find the solution space of A minus 2 I x 1, x 2, x 3 equal to 0, 0, 0. Now, when we have the A minus 2 I here, so when we solve this system, we get the solution space W 3 to be the set of all vectors of the form gamma 0 minus gamma, where gamma is real. And we see that 1 0 minus 1 is a basis for W 3, and when you normalize it, you get the eigenvector corresponding to the third eigenvalue, and there is only 1 by root 2 into 1 0 minus 1. So, therefore, if we summarize, we have the eigenvalue on the one side, eigenvectors normalized on the other side. We have lambda 1 equal to 6, and the eigenvector was 1 by root 6 into 1 minus 2 1. This is what we called as phi 1 1. And similarly, for lambda 2 equal to 3, we had the eigenvector 1 by root 3 into 1 1 1, and lambda 3 equal to 2, we get phi 3 2 equal to 1 by root 2 1 0 minus 1. Now, observe that all these vectors are length 1 and they are orthogonal to each other. Also observe that every vector in W 3 is orthogonal to every vector in W 1 and W 2. That is the statement that eigenvectors corresponding to different eigenvalues are orthogonal to each other. So, for the 3 eigenvalues, now we have got the 3 eigenvectors, they are orthonormalized. Notice that the eigenvalues are all real, because the matrix is real symmetric. Whenever you have a real symmetric matrix or a complex Hermitian matrix, all the eigenvalues will be real. Now, we will look at the construction of U, the unitary matrix. How do we construct? We put these eigenvectors along the diagonal. If we put the eigenvectors, we have 1 by root 6 minus 2 by root 6, 1 by root 6, that is the first eigenvector. Then the second eigenvector comes along the second column. So, it is 1 by root 3, 1 by root 3, 1 by root 3, and the third eigenvector comes along the third column minus 1 by root. Now, since the columns are orthonormal, since columns are orthonormal, U is unitary. And now, it is easy to check that if we now take the matrix A and multiply U star A U, we would get what is the same in this case, it is the same as U transpose A U, because U star is U transpose, because we are dealing with real matrices, and this will be the diagonal matrix. And what will be the diagonal entries? The eigenvalues corresponding to the columns eigenvectors. The first column corresponds to this eigenvalue 6, the second column corresponds to the eigenvalue 3, and the third column corresponds to the eigenvalue 2. So, these 3 eigenvalues will come along the diagonal. The rest of the entries will be 0, and we have this diagonalization process. Now, we can actually substitute U, and therefore, U transpose, and we know the matrix A. We can actually carry out the multiplication and verify that it is indeed the diagonal matrix 6 0 0 0 3 0 0 0 2, and we get the decomposition of A as A equal to U d U star. If we now, or U d U transpose, in because now U star is U star is U transpose. So, now what is U? We have the U here, we can substitute that, and we have the diagonal matrix here, we can substitute that, and since we know U, we know U transpose. So, that we see that now the decomposition of A as the product of 3 simple matrices. So, this is the demonstration of all the results that we obtain for symmetric, real symmetric matrix or complex Hermitian matrix. Now, let us look at another example without too many details. The first look at the matrix A 6 minus 2 2 minus 2 3 minus 1 2 minus 1 3. Again notice that A transpose is equal to A, and A is real, and therefore, A is a real symmetric matrix. A is a real symmetric matrix. Once again, if you calculate the characteristic polynomial of lambda, which is the determinant of lambda I minus A, we have the A, we have the I. If we substitute, we get the determinant. When we expand the determinant, we get lambda minus 2 squared into lambda minus 8. Now, in this case we have a multiple eigenvalue. So, the distinct eigenvalues are lambda 1 equal to 2 with the multiplicity, algebraic multiplicity is 2 and the eigenvalue lambda 2 is 8 with algebraic multiplicity 1. Notice that all the eigenvalues are real. Note eigenvalues are all real. Now, let us find the eigenspaces. W 1 is the null space of A minus 2 I, because lambda 1 is 2. So, A minus lambda 1 I is A minus 2 I. So, A minus 2 I with this given matrix is just 4 minus 2 2 minus 2 1 minus 1 2 minus 1 1. We get this matrix by subtracting 2 from the diagonal. Now, we find solution space of A minus 2 I, the system A minus 2 I x 1 x 2 x 3 equal to 0 0. We have the matrix A minus 2 I, we have a homogeneous system, we know how to solve it, and when we solve this we get W 1, the set of all solutions is of the form alpha beta minus 2 alpha plus beta, where alpha and beta are real. So, this is the set of all solutions of this homogeneous system, and we easily see therefore, u 1 equal to 1 0 minus 2 and u 2 equal to 0 1 1 is a basis for W 1, and therefore, dimension of W 1 is equal to 2, and therefore, G 1 the algebraic multiplicity is 2, and you therefore, see the algebraic multiplicity was 2 and this is also the geometric multiplicity. Thus, the geometric multiplicity and algebraic multiplicity are the same. The basis we have found for W 1 is not orthonormal. So, we apply Gram-Schmidt to the above basis, apply Gram-Schmidt to the above basis, then we get an orthonormal basis. We will leave it as an exercise to find this orthonormal basis using Gram-Schmidt. We get the orthonormal basis. Now, these are eigenvectors, orthonormal eigenvectors corresponding to the eigenvalue 1, but there are 2 eigenvectors and they turn out to be 1 by root 6, 0 minus 1 by root 5, because 1 by root 5 minus 2 by root 5, and 5 to 1 turns out to be 1 by root 30 into 2 5 1. So, we get the 2 eigenvectors corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda 1 equal to 2, and there are 2 eigenvectors, algebraic multiplicity is 2, geometric multiplicity is 2, we get 2 orthonormal eigenvectors. Let us next find W 2, which is the null space of A minus 2 I, thus lambda 2 I, lambda 2 is 8. So, A minus 8 I. Now, A minus 8 I is obtained from the given matrix A by subtracting 8 from the diagonal. When we do that, we get this matrix. Now, we have to find the solution space of this homogeneous system. Find solution space of the homogeneous system 8 minus I, A minus 8 I x 1 x 2 x 3 equal to 0 0 0. Now, we have the matrix A minus 8 I, we can apply the row operations or any other trick to solve the system. We get W 2 to be the set of all vectors of the form beta minus beta by 2 beta by 2, where beta is any real number. And therefore, if we take beta equal to 2, we get u equal to 2 minus 1 1, a basis for W 2, and therefore, dimension of W 2 equal to 1, which is therefore G 2, therefore, which implies G 2 equal to 1. So, again we find the algebraic multiplicity of the second eigenvalue is 1, the geometric multiplicity is also equal to 1. Now, this eigenvector is not normalized, it is not length 1. So, by normalizing it, and there will be only one eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue 2, and that is given by 1 by root 6 into 2 minus 1 1, because the length is root 6. So, thus now notice that every vector in W 1 is orthogonal to every vector in W 2. We will leave, it is easy to check from the structure of these two spaces that every vector in W 1 is orthogonal to every vector in W 2. This is the corroboration of the statement that the eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues must be orthonormal or orthogonal to each other. Now, the construction of U, the unitary matrix U. Now, to get U, we must put the eigenvectors along the orthonormal eigenvectors that we found. We have 1 by root 5, 0 minus 2 by root 5, then 1 by root 2 by root 30, 2 by root 30, 5 by root 30 and 1 by root 30, and then we had 2 by root 6 minus 1 by root 6, 1 by root 6. So, this is the matrix obtained by putting the three eigenvectors along the three columns. Then U transpose is the U transpose U is equal to identity, because U is unitary. Why is U unitary? Because columns are orthonormal. The moment the columns are orthonormal, the matrix becomes unitary. So, that is the matrix U, and then we get, if we now put U transpose A U, U star is U transpose in this case, we can easily verify. We can substitute for U, we can substitute for U transpose, the matrix U is given, and verify that the product is going to give a diagonal. Which diagonal? The first two columns correspond to the eigenvalue 2. So, the first two diagonal entries will be 2, and the third column corresponds to the eigenvalue 8, and therefore, the third diagonal entry will be 8, and therefore, this is the diagonalization of U, and the decomposition of A is given by A equal to U, this diagonal matrix, into U transpose, where U is as obtained here. And therefore, we see that A has been decomposed into the product of three simple matrices, product of three simple matrices, the two extreme factors being unitary and the middle one being diagonal. So, we have seen therefore, the structure of real symmetric and complex Hermitian matrices through their eigenvalues. We observed that the eigenvalues are real, eigenvectors are orthogonal to each other when the eigenvalues are distinct, and we can find eigenvectors basis for the whole space, and corresponding to each eigenvalue, if the algebraic multiplicity is A j, there will be G exactly A j orthonormal eigenvectors corresponding to them, and when we put all these orthonormal eigenvectors along the columns of a matrix, it becomes a unitary matrix and we get the diagonalization, unitary diagonalization in the case of complex and orthogonal diagonalization in place of real, and we get the decomposition of a given Hermitian matrix or a real symmetric matrix into a product of 3 simple matrices, 2 of them being unitary and the middle one being the a diagonal matrix, and the unitary matrix U is constructed using the eigenvectors of, see, when we construct this U, it is constructed using the 3 eigenvectors of E, and the diagonal matrix is constructed using the eigenvalues, and each eigenvalue appears as many times as its algebraic multiplicity. So, the construction of this decomposition involves both the eigenvalues and the eigenvectors. Thus, the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of a Hermitian matrix play a very crucial role in looking at the structure of the matrix in a very simple form. We have seen the decomposition of a Hermitian matrix into a product of 3 simple matrices. Now, we shall look at the same in a different angle and look at the decomposition of the matrix not as a product of simple matrices, but as the sum of simple matrices. So, decomposition of A as the sum of simple matrices. This is our goal. We will say what is meant by simple matrices as we go along. This is connected with one of the questions that we raised at the beginning of the course. So, what we do is the following: we start with the matrix A. Hn is the collection of all Hermitian matrices, that is A is Hermitian, A belongs to C and N, and A is Hermitian. Now, we start with a Hermitian matrix, then we have its characteristic polynomial with the usual notations. Lambda 1, lambda k are the distinct eigenvalues, and A 1, A 2, A k are the algebraic multiplicities of these eigenvalues. And then we have the W j to be the null space of A minus lambda j I, which is the eigenspace corresponding to lambda j I, and then we have the orthonormal basis for W j, which we denote by phi 1 phi j 1 phi j 2 phi j a. This is the notation we had used in the last lecture, corresponding to the jth eigenvalue. So, the superscript j says that we are talking about the eigenvalue j, lambda j, and the subscript says the ordering of the eigenvectors. So, there are A j orthonormal eigenvectors corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda j. And then we said that we observed last time that if you put all these things together, j equal to 1 to k, this basis, this individual orthonormal basis is an orthonormal basis for C n. So, how does this bay looks like? It starts with phi 1 1, then goes on up to phi 1 a 1, then it goes to phi 2 1, then phi 2 a 2. So, it lists first the a 1 eigenvectors, orthonormal eigenvectors corresponding to lambda 1, then the a 2 eigenvectors corresponding to lambda 2, and in the end it lists the eigenvectors corresponding to lambda k, and there are a k of them. So, this is how that basis looks like. So, now we have an orthonormal basis. Now, any vector can be expanded in terms of the orthonormal basis. So, let x be in C n, we can expand x in terms of this orthonormal basis as, now you see first we will write all the terms corresponding to the first A1 base vectors, then A2 base vectors. So, in our note we can use this notation x is equal to first expand with respect to the jth basis vectors and do this for every one of the j's. So, we can write the expansion of x in terms of this orthonormal basis in this form x phi r j, the orthogonal projection of x along the direction times the projection. This is the Fourier expansion which we have seen before. For any orthonormal basis we can expand a vector in terms of that orthonormal basis. Now, this implies if we now look at A x, I have to multiply by A, it is a sum. So, I can distribute the multiplication to each one of these terms. This is a constant, this is a number, the inner product is a number. So, I have to look at A phi r j, but I know the moment that this superscript is there, that means this is an eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda j. So, that becomes summation, the two summations and this coefficient, and then this is the eigenvector corresponding to eigenvalue lambda j. So, it can be written as lambda j phi j r. If you recollect, we can write the inner product of two vectors x comma y as y star x. So, this is the same as phi r j star x. The inner product is written in terms of the matrix dot product, but now it is a conjugate. So, phi r j star x and then a lambda j and then phi r j. We can rewrite this as summation j equal to 1 to k, summation r equal to 1 to a j, lambda j phi j r phi r j star x. This is a number, the phi r j star x is a number. So, this is a complete product and we can rewrite as lambda j phi r j star, this whole thing multiplying x, because matrix multiplication is distributed. So, we will write this now as j equal to 1 to k, r equal to 1 to a j, lambda j, we will write this as a r j x, where a r j is just phi j r star. So, this is what a x is. Now, what is this a r j? If you look at phi r j, it is an eigenvector, it belongs to C n. So, that is an n by 1 vector. Therefore, this is obtained by transposing and conjugating. So, that is a 1 by n vector. So, the product is going to be an n by n matrix. So, a r j is an n by n matrix. In short notation, we will write it as phi r j. This is what we in the beginning of the course we called as the outer product or the tensor product. A r j is phi r j tensor phi r j. In fact, there is no more star there. The moment I put tensor, the star is taken care of. It is the tensor of phi r j with itself. So, phi r j tensor phi r j means phi r j star. That is the matrix phi r j star. So, this phi r j star is written in this form. So, therefore, a r j is a matrix. Now, a r j is a matrix, lambda j is a number. So, the number times matrix is a matrix. we are adding a number of n by n matrices, that is going to be another n by n matrix. So, we let k to be all that sum j equal to 1 to k, r equal to 1 to a j, lambda j, phi a r j. Now, this is an n by n matrix. What we have is A x, this A x is equal to k x, and this is true for every x. A x is equal to k x for every x in C. Now, if there are two matrices A and k such that A x equal to k x for every x in C n, then A must be equal to k. This implies A equal to k. So, therefore, we have A equal to summation r summation j equal to 1 to k, r equal to 1 to a j, lambda j, that is lambda j a r j, where a r j again I repeat is phi r j tensor phi r j, which is the same as phi r j star. So, now we see already we have some decomposition. We have decomposed the matrix A as the sum of a number of matrices lambda j a r j. A r j is a matrix. So, we are looking at lambda j a r j. So, thus we have a decomposition. Let us analyze this decomposition little bit carefully by looking at each term. Okay. So, look at a r j. So, let us make that remark first. So, we have, let us call this as 1. In 1 we see a decomposition of A as the sum of matrices which are of the form lambda u cross v, u cross u, where by taking suitable eigenvalues each is of the form, okay, sum of matrices each of which is of the form lambda u cross u by suitable values of lambda and u. So, let us analyze each one of these. So, let us analyze how simple each one of these terms. So, typically let u belong to C n and u not equal to theta n, and let say T be a matrix which is u tensor u. What does that mean? Which is equal to u star. Now, for any x in R n, we have, and let us without loss of generality even take length of u to be 1, because all our in our construction all the matrices, all the vectors involved are of length 1. So, we can as well look at these things with the length 1. So, for any x in R n, we have T x is equal to u star x. Now, matrix multiplication is associative. So, it is u star x. Now, u star x is a number. So, it is of the form some alpha x times u, where alpha x is u star x which belongs to C, and therefore, we find that every vector, any vector in the range of T is of the form T x, and therefore, every vector is in the range of the is a multiple of u. Hence, since every vector in the range of u, range of T is of the form T x, we see that every vector in the range of T is a scalar multiple of u, and T of u is u star u into u, which is equal to u, because u is unitary, u star u is the length u squared, which is 1, and therefore, u belongs to range of T. Therefore, u is a vector in the range of T, and every other vector in the range of T is a multiple of u, and hence u spans the range of T and u not equal to theta n. Therefore, u is a basis for range of T, and therefore, rank of T, which is equal to the dimension of range of T. Now, since there is only one vector in the basis for the range of T, the dimension is 1. Therefore, any matrix of the form T equal to u tensor u, u not equal to theta n, norm u equal to 1 is of rank 1. Now, since all our matrices ARS, ARJ are of this form, they are all of the form phi r u tensor u, u is phi r j, and they are all of length 1, then therefore, by the structure of ARJ we get that hence each ARJ is of rank 1. And therefore, we have seen that we are able to express the matrix A. If you look at this representation, these are all of rank 1. So, this is only a linear combination of rank 1 matrices. So, we have expressed the first thing we observe is the following. So, thus the representation A equal to summation j equal to 1 to k, summation r equal to 1 to a j, lambda j phi j r tensor phi j r gives us a decomposition of A as the sum, as the linear combination of rank 1 matrices. This is the first observation that we have about the decomposition of a matrix as the sum of matrices. Now, they are sum of simple matrices, because now they are all linear combinations of rank 1 matrices. Now, let us analyze this a little more. What we observe is that when we have an eigenvalue 0, the terms corresponding to that eigenvalue will all disappear, because we will be multiplying by that eigenvalue lambda j. For example, we are having this multiplier lambda j. So, whenever we have the terms corresponding to an eigenvalue 0, these terms will completely disappear from this summation. So, let us make that point. So, since suppose let us put it this, suppose So, let us say for convenience the last eigenvalue is equal to 0. So, that is one of the eigenvalues is 0 and we set it as lambda k. So, one of the eigenvalues is 0 say. What does that mean? This means all the terms corresponding to this eigenvalue in the above decomposition disappear, because we will be multiplying by that particular eigenvalue. We are going to multiply lambda j times in this decomposition. You will see that there is a multiplier lambda j. So, if the eigenvalue corresponding to k is lambda k term we take, then all those terms will disappear. Now, how many terms are there? What is the effect of the disappearance? All this if you look at, then we get a decent decomposition of A. How many such terms are there? The number of terms corresponding to lambda k equal to 0 will be A k. What is A k? That is equal to the algebraic multiplicity of lambda k equal to 0, the eigenvalue lambda k, which means this is the same as the geometric multiplicity of lambda k equal to 0, which is the dimension of null space of A minus lambda k, but lambda k is 0 as the dimension of null space of A, which is just the nullity of A. So, in other words, nu A terms will totally disappear from the representation of A. So, we have the decomposition of A as the sum, as a linear combination of matrices, linear combination of rank 1 matrices. A priori we had n terms, and because of the multiplier factor of the eigenvalue, whenever we have an eigenvalue 0, nu A, the nullity times that many terms will disappear from the eigenvalue. Hence, the above sum becomes a decomposition of A into the sum of, now totally we had n terms, we had A 1 terms corresponding to lambda 1, A 2 terms corresponding to lambda 2, etc., out of which now nu A disappeared, n minus nu A terms will be there, but n minus nu A is the rank of the matrix of row 1 rank matrices. Now, each one is 1 rank, because it is a 1 rank multiplied by a constant non-zero constant. Now, the remaining eigenvalues are non-zero. So, all other terms are of rank 1 matrices. So, thus we see that the matrix which has rank row has been expressed as the sum of row 1 rank matrices. Thus, the matrix A which has rank row has been expressed as the sum of row 1 rank matrices. Giving us a decomposition of, remember we are dealing with a Hermitian matrix, decomposition of a Hermitian matrix as the sum of simple matrices. and when we say simple, we mean rank 1 matrices. Now, we see therefore, in the case of Hermitian matrices, we have very nice decompositions. We have a product decomposition. We can decompose the matrix as the product of 3 simple matrices, 2 of them being unitary and the middle one being diagonal. We can diagonalize the matrix A. We have all eigenvalues real, and we can also express the matrix as the sum of simple matrices, namely sum of rank 1 matrices, and if the rank of the matrix is rho, we get exactly A as the sum of rho 1 rank matrices, and these 1 rank matrices are easily constructed as the tensor product of an eigenvector with itself, and these are the eigenvectors corresponding to the non-zero eigenvalue of the matrix. So, in the case of Hermitian matrices, we have very nice structure, we have very nice decompositions, which would automatically help in the analysis of the matrix as well as the systems of equations connected with such Hermitian matrices. But all this we have seen only for Hermitian matrices. What does one do when the matrix is not Hermitian, or if you have a real matrix which is not real symmetric, what do we do in such cases? Or if you do not even have a square matrix and you are dealing with a rectangular matrix, what do we do in such cases? So, what we shall see is we can reduce all these problems to the analysis of some suitable Hermitian or real symmetric matrix, and therefore, we will refer to all the results we have, and through this we can conclude about the decompositions as product, decompositions as sums, and so on of any general matrix. To this end, we shall start looking at a very special class of Hermitian matrices, which we shall be using in our analysis of a general matrix.